All right. Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 504. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. This is Fred.
Ed.
He is my 15-year-old tabby. His tag says Freddie B. Sweats because that's one of the random nicknames Michael has given him.
Okay.
My knitting room door is open, so he decided to invite himself in. He's not usually allowed in this room because
But
there are
he's a
so
cat.
many places for kitties to hide
Yeah.
that I don't want to have to deal with it. Um, But speaking of cats, we're going to build one of those like cat wall things.
Oh.
And Kobe got involved and drew a diagram. So I thought it would be fun to share. Kobe is my 17-year-old son.
I want to see this diagram.
So not to scale. We'll make sure to say up here, not to scale. So this is the doorway into the dining room. This
Uh-huh.
is a wall with a sofa. And between this doorway, this wall connects the back of our house to the stairwell.
And there's a cat tree by the doorway. I
Yeah,
feel
that's
like
what
that's
this.
important.
Well, it's
There's
hard to
nothing
see because it's
there.
yellow.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so there's a cat tree. It's actually two cat trees, one on top of the other. They're
And they're like mounted to the wall.
yeah.
That nothing is going to happen.
So there's going to be apparently a gate, like a drawbridge thing, several little hangout areas, another gate, a chillaxation station. I think is what that says. So
Area.
chillaxation area, and then that's where we're going to put the cat sofa, the cat
Oh,
couch.
yeah.
So, but it's going to connect all the way up to the top of the stairs. So, somehow, I don't know. That's Michael and Kobe's project.
I think that's a great project.
So, yeah. So, hi. It's Sunday, October something, 11th, I think. Yep.
Yep.
It's very hot in my house. At least up here it is.
It's
I,
still like very warm in general in Mississippi. It's been in the 80s most of the week.
yeah, it's gotten cool enough in the evenings that the mosquitoes are dying out, but they're not gone yet. So, all right, I'm going to open a soda, so if you're noise sensitive, bear with me a second.
Well, I'm going to go first while Leslie's opening her
No,
soda. How about
that
that?
is not approved.
Yes, I'm totally doing it live. I am working on a sock. It is a sock tube that one of the first sock tubes that I cranked on my machine when we first got it. It is Yarn Pirate, circa probably 2007, 2008, in the Pumpkinhead colorway. And this is what it looks like in the cake. And when I first cranked these sock tubes, I did not make them long enough. Now I make my sock tubes around 180 rotations, but this is probably around 120. So I rejoined the yarn to do the cuff, and then I'll rip back for the toe, mainly because on the other tube, not this one, it's really messed up, like right down there. So that needs to come out anyway. Um, and then add a heel, and then I'll have some new Halloween socks.
That's good.
So these are like vintage pumpkin head socks circa 2007. So I'm super happy about that. I'm still working on my Knit Spin Farm socks. They maybe got a row this week. They live in my backpack. And then, so when tomorrow, I'm going to Kroger to pick up an order. So maybe I'll get some, like a couple rows. And also, the garter stitch blanket is on the sofa. It has not been worked on this week, but I'll get back to it soon. But the
So
main
that's
thing
the
that I've,
one out of acrylic, right? That
yeah,
Caron.
that's the one
Okay.
out of the Caron Cakes. The main thing that I've been working on this week, and I've had to rip back a couple times because I messed up, is a Dissent um, cowl. And this is by, I believe it's Browning. Carissa Browning. Let me pull it up. Yep, Carissa Browning. And I am knitting this out of this light color is Kim Dye's yarn in her Sunday Brunch colorway of Brioche DK, which is 100% superwash merino. She actually sold these as half skeins during one of her updates, and so you could buy a bunch of them, and all you needed for the contrast color was 140 yards, and that's what these were sold in, so it was like perfect. And then the dark blue is navy from Farm Girl Fibers. I bought this at SSK 2 years
SSK.
ago, when she was vending. And so it is a cashmere merino nylon blend of DK. And this will look like a Ruth Bader Ginsburg cowl when it's
So
all
is
said
it
and done.
color
So
work?
this is
Is
the
it
top.
slip
It's
stitch?
mosaic, so it's slip
Okay.
stitch.
Okay.
Yep. And it's not super hard. It is there is one round where you're like slipping. Actually, that's what I'm around right now. You slip and then you purl and the yarn's carried in the back. So
Oh,
that
so it's a
one's a
lot of
little
just
bit,
finagling the yarn.
yeah, that round is a little bit tedious, and then it gets more this is just like the pearls at the top, and then there's a different pattern that goes further down. And I've linked the pattern to Ravelry because that's the only link I could find in the show notes. So it is there. And that is all I have on the needles, those two things.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I am surprise, surprise, crocheting squares.
Oh, you left your stapler over here, by the way.
Oh, did I? Okay, I'll grab it.
Yeah.
Um, the end is in sight with these squares. So, what I did, and I'll show a quick picture here. Um, I'll show it on my phone, and then I'll put a quick picture in through the magic of technology. But so what I did was the blanket has 17 colors. This is the Giant Granny Patches blanket by Sandra Paul. So it has 17 colors in it. And so what I did was I'm through the first skein of every color. So I've completely crocheted 17 skeins. Um, and I got between 25 and 30 squares out of each skein, usually around 27. Um, so what I did was I took one of each color and stapled it to the front of just a white paper like lunch bag, and put a count of how many I currently had, how many I need, and the color number, because it's all, when you put it together, it's all based on what color number it is. And most of them I need like 10 more squares. A couple of them I finished because I did a little bit this weekend. So a couple of them are done. Most of them need about 10. A couple of them need like 15.
Whoa.
Because it's not an even number of every color. Like it's not the same
Oh,
number.
okay.
Some are used more frequently than others. I don't know what you want, dear. I
All
don't
your
have
love,
anything for you.
your face.
Okay,
This is
move. You're
Leslie's
on my.
animal show
I
today.
swear. That was Neelix. He's the one that the viewers helped us name back in 2011, I think.
That sounds about right.
So it was our second year of podcasting. I think it was 2011. So anyway, I'm still crocheting those squares. I also wanted to try this pattern called Tweed and True. It's a Tunisian crochet pattern, but it looks kind of like a linen stitch, and I like the look of it. So I'm using this Lion brand Mandala tweed stripes. So this is what it looks
Oh, that's
like.
pretty.
I'm pretty sure it's 100% acrylic. Yep, 100% acrylic. And so this is what the stitches look like.
Oh, that's cool looking.
Isn't it neat looking?
Yeah, that's
And
super
it's really
cool.
easy. It's like you just alternate where you start on every other row. But aside from that, it's exactly identical to, your regular Tunisian crochet stitch. I was a little worried at first because it's rolling a lot, so I couldn't see any progress. But finally, I've gotten to the point where I can see progress.
So, what's the finished object of this?
It's called Tweed and True.
But
It's
is it like
linked.
a shawl or
It's a
a
blanket. It's a
cowl?
baby
Okay.
blanket. Yeah, I just wanted something, simple.
Yeah.
to try. It's like a 32 by 32 blanket, I think. And then you can crochet an edging around it as well, like with a separate color. So I got 2 skeins of this, which should be more than enough. Um, and I've mostly been working on it while watching Kobe play Super Mario Galaxy, the re-released version on the Nintendo Switch. Uh, Frequently, I find myself stopped and holding my breath while he's trying to beat like a boss or not fall into a black hole or
That's me with
whatever.
American Ninja Warrior. Like, I
Yeah.
will, like, kick on the sofa and hold my breath thinking, oh, I can change this outcome.
You haven't watched the new ones yet, right?
No.
Good. You better not. That's a rule.
That's a rule.
Um, so yeah, I've been working on this a little bit over the course of the last week. Not a ton. The Tunisian crochet hooks I'm using are part of an Addy set that works with the um, clicks.
Oh,
So these
cool.
are just like the clicks. They can use the regular click cables. You are limited in size. I think you only get 5 needle sizes with the Addy set. But it's worked fine for me. And then aside from that, I cast on a shawl. Let me try to find that here. So this is what I've wanted to knit since it came out. I don't knit a lot of shawls anymore just because I don't wear them. Um, I'm lucky in that I work from home. I'm almost always home. I rarely leave my house. So I don't need necessarily a whole bunch of shawls, but I really like this one. This one is called Harmonize by Romi Hill.
Oh, yeah.
And she did a couple of variations on this, I believe. It was also part of her 7 resizable shawls collection.
Yeah.
So she's done a couple of different versions of it, but it's got like garter stitch stripes with like slip stitch honeycomb overlay. Um,
And she's one of
it,
our teachers for the 2021
yes,
SSK.
and she's just a lovely person.
Yep.
So I'm working on that. It does require charts, so it's not something I'll work on while we're recording. But I am using some Gale's Art Merino Yak Silk.
Ooh.
I forgot I swatched for that. I need to wash that. So this is the purple and silver. These are the colors that I started a different shawl, and it was going to be in memory of our friend Gale, who passed away
Yeah.
a couple years ago. And then I was going to auction it at SSK for goodie bag stuff. Luckily, well, I don't want to say luckily, it turned out we didn't have SSK this year because of, all
COVID.
sorts of wonderful reasons. Um, but so my goal is to have this done. I would like to have this done by the end of the year, realistically, but my goal is to put it in the 2021 raffle for Scarrett Bennett, where all the
Oh, cool.
proceeds go to Scarrett Bennett. Um, so yeah, it's just right now it's just a ton of increasing, and it's not garter exactly. It's like stockinette, except every 4th row.
It's got ridges.
Yeah. So
Like ruffles. Ruffles have ridges.
yes, I was trying to think, what's that food that's got ridges? I can't remember. And then I swatched, but haven't actually washed the swatch for Rift. The Rift Tea out of this is Wisconsin Wool & Spun by what's
Susan
Susan
B.
B. Anderson?
Anderson.
What's her company?
Barrett wool.
Barrett Wool. There you go.
Barrett. Yeah.
Barrett Wool
Bartlett.
Company.
Barrett.
Barrett.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think Barrett was her maiden name. I think that's what the B is in her name.
I don't know. That's cool though. Oh, see, that would make sense. Look at
I
that.
just completely assume that anyway. Um, so
Making up truths
yeah,
or
so I need
lies.
to wash the swatch to see if I got gauge. I have no idea. So I think I knit this and then stuck it in my bag and completely forgot about it. But luckily,
I
I
feel
had
like
gotten
that's
into the
what just
habit
happened.
is I tie knots on the tail in the whatever number of the US size needle. So this one was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this was there are 8 knots on the string, so I knit this in a US size 8.
For sport weight. That's the sport weight, right?
Yes. But even on an 8, like, it's so dense. Like, super dense. And it's a size up from what the pattern calls for. So we'll see. I can't remember
Yeah,
what
I
the
would
8
have
was
to go
supposed to
down to
be.
like a 4 to get that.
Yeah. So, and that's in a very old Erin Lane bag.
Oh yeah, it is.
So yeah, that's what I'm working on. That's
Cool.
all I got.
I have 2 finished objects.
Show me, show me.
I will. They're both the same finished objects, but I made 2 of them.
Yes, you did.
So these are the Pumpkinhead pattern. Not Pumpkinhead, Pumpkin Hat. Punkin hat, which
Pumpkinhead
is
was like a scary movie, right?
there's a book by Rainbow Royal called Pumpkinheads. It's really
Oh,
cute. It's a
okay.
graphic novel. Um, but anyway, so and it might be a scary movie as well. I don't know. You know, everything in my life relates back to young adult or
Yep,
middle grade fiction.
as it
So
should.
these were knit out of Rios and Glazed Carrot. This one is a toddler size, and this one is a newborn size. So they're ribbed. So it's really hard to kind of see.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got this ribbing that goes through them and a little leaf on the top.
And are these
And
just for the basket or?
so this one's for the basket, the newborn size. And then the other one is going to my friend Jenny, the person who is also getting the bounce blanket.
Yeah.
So for her baby shower, she actually asked for kids' books, which you know I'm totally on board with. So I sent her a text the other day and made sure that she didn't have We Don't Eat Our Classmates.
Oh, great choice.
I know, right? I was torn between that and the John Klassen, Mac Barnett. Anyway, there were some
Are you really
choices.
only getting her one book? Because that would be incredibly restrained of you.
Well, I am because she's had several large baby showers because her husband they've been trying for a long time.
Right. So people are very excited for them.
And as they should be. And also, her husband's a youth pastor at a very large Baptist church,
Oh, okay.
so they
Well,
had
that's good.
quite a
So she's got
large baby showers.
lots of
Yeah.
help, lots of stuff. That's wonderful.
Oh yeah. So in fact, she asked if when I knit because I knit her when I first found out she was pregnant, I made her like little mitts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, out of DK, those newborn mitts that I make, and I gave her a hat, and then she was like, "I love you, and I'm getting a lot of like newborn stuff, and I
Mm-hmm.
want the baby to be able to wear the stuff that you're making. So if you make some stuff, can you make like 1-year-old size?" So, and I double checked with the baby blanket before I started that too. Like I'm doing a lot of checking in with her on
Right.
this, so she knows what she's getting. But also, she had to she got COVID 2 weeks ago, so she's been really, really sick for the last 2 weeks, which is why when I cast this on, I didn't assign it to like, this is going to be Baby J's because I didn't want that mojo out there just in case.
Yeah.
But she's fine now.
That's good.
She's
I'm
doing
glad.
better. She'll be back at work on Tuesday, so I'm excited that she'll be back. But yeah, so this is the toddler size. So this one is for Baby J, and then the other is just going in the bin. And I think I can get a third out of the single skein of glazed carrot Brios. Um, and if I can't, I have lots of this green.
You can just start it
Yeah,
earlier.
I'll
Start
just
the
start the
crown.
green a little bit further down, like at the top of the crown or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are done and they're super cute. I love fall babies and pumpkin head hats.
That's the perfect color.
Yeah, I love that glazed carrot colorway of Rios. It's really, really perfect for sure. So that is all that I have finished. Do you have any finished objects this week?
I do. So I finished a bunch of granny squares. Not going to show you all those because they're downstairs. Um,
But
but I
also, we've seen
also
all your granny squares a bazillion times.
you shut up. I feel like you've had projects like this too. So I have
Well, that's definitely true.
two kind of sewing things. One is hand sewing, I did a hand sewn reinforcement of my Ursa.
I love that ribbon.
So this is a jacquard ribbon that I found on Etsy.
It's like a
Uh,
super fat robin.
so I did a blanket stitch and on both the top and the bottom, and hand sewn them. This is a super thick yarn, so it was really easy to, hide the ends. And it's still kind of wide, like it's still much wider than I expected it to be, but it's stable at least. It's not growing anymore. Which,
Yeah, and you can always do like a single chain around it if you want to bring it in a smidge.
yeah, but with the backing, it's not going to move a whole lot without scrunching.
Ah,
So
gotcha.
I'm okay with it. I mean, it's not something I would wear by itself anyway. I'd always have something on under it.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then I also finished my York pinafore, which required so much um, bias, double hole bias tape, because it's all open like armholes and neck holes.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of bias tape. So I'll put a picture in here of me wearing this very quickly this afternoon. I'm sure I'll look absolutely lovely. I haven't even looked at the pictures yet. Michael took them for me. Um,
You can always take other ones if they're terrible.
yeah, it's fine. Uh, but yeah, so I'm happy with it. I will probably do the next one in a fabric that's got a little bit of stretch. This one is woven, so there's not a lot of stretch to it, which is fine because it fits. But I think I would like it to be a little more like drapey and swingy. So I think
So a
I'd
knit.
probably, what's that?
So like a knit fabric instead.
Yeah, like a knit fabric, I think. Um, but it came out nice. I did a little decorative edging
Aw, look at
at the
that.
bottom on the hem. Uh, but yeah, it's got different neckline options. It's got different pocket options. Like you can do these big scoop pockets, or there's a one with a kangaroo pocket. But I like the scoop pockets. And this fabric I got in Scotland
That's your
when
second
we,
Scotland fabric that you've
yes,
used.
it is.
How many more Scotland fabrics do you have? You didn't get a ton when we were there.
I think two. One I'm not sure I'm going to use for garments. It might be for like bags or something. But I've got a large amount of a linen-like fabric. It's not linen though; it's something else. Rami. Um,
Hmm.
so I haven't picked a pattern for that yet. So.
Ramie's made from nettles, I believe.
Yeah, it is because we looked it up because we weren't sure what it was when we got it. Um, but yeah, so those are the things that I've finished this week. I had hoped I would get a lot more sewing done. I actually took this week off work because I've got days off that I have to use or I'll just lose them. So I took this week off, although I had several doctor's appointments and dentist appointments, and um, but I didn't get as much done as I would like.
Do you have tomorrow off as well?
I do not,
Oh,
but I do have both a dentist appointment and Kobe's got a podiatrist appointment because his feet have been bugging him a lot. So
oh,
um,
that does
I
not sound
know
like that's fun.
I had to get a partial on the bottom, and that requires 5 solid weeks in a row of going to the dentist every week for
Oh,
measuring and fitting and
like a
whatever.
partial
Yes.
bridge or something?
Yeah.
Hmm. That does
Yep.
not sound like fun.
It's not my favorite thing in the world, but um, I would like the spots where I'm missing teeth to no longer be missing teeth. That would be wonderful.
There you go.
So I have no spinning, but it looks like you do.
I have some spinning. I have 3 sets of singles that I've spun, but not plied. But you know how it goes. The first, I'm going in reverse order from the show notes, and you can find our show notes on TheKnitGirls with 3ls.com. I've also started slowly adding my free patterns up there as well. So Lala Simple Shawl's the only thing up there right now, but my free patterns will also be available there, as well as Ravelry. So the first thing, or the third thing that I finished, is the singles of Hello Yarn Black on Holiday BFL. This was a dye challenge that she did in 2014, and I bought one bag of it, and I took it to SSK, and I was spinning a 3-ply, and I had 2 bobbins done, and then I lost the rest of the fiber.
I remember
And
this.
we thought like it had gotten used by mistake in one of the wheels in the tasting room, and I was super sad, and so I ordered another bag of the fiber and divided that into thirds and had we used 1/3 to finish that spin.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward 2 years. And I had looked in my Zucca bag for like all the time, and I had Leslie look in my Zucca bag to make sure that I didn't miss it. And a Zucca bag's a bag that's used for like ice skating. It's not just like a spinning bag. It's like
Yeah, it's
this
a
bag on a
rolling
frame.
bag that you can sit on, but it's really a lot of people who have e-spinners use them.
Yeah. And there's like a kangaroo pouch in the top that I didn't even know existed. And mom had put
Oh,
my fiber, yeah, like down in the top. Did you know that there's a kangaroo pouch
yeah,
up there? Oh yeah, I had no idea that there's a kangaroo pouch there.
yeah. I put
So
my
I
disassembled like acrework spindles
oh see,
bobbins in there.
yeah, that's super smart. Didn't even know that that was there. So
Oh,
mom had stuck my fiber in there, and then I found it. And then I have gone through all my braids and bats of fiber that has been dyed and added it to a spreadsheet so that I know what I have and where it's located. I labeled all my bins and bags because I have some comforter bags that I store stuff in. And this project started over the summer, and as a way of me being able to control things in my life
mm-hmm.
when things were a little bit out of control. And so I finished the last 2 bins this weekend that I still had to do. And in the process, I found the other 2/3 of the fiber. So I spun it all into one long, because I don't know if they were divided exactly the same.
Right. Yeah.
And it's been some, I know that they weren't divided. I don't know. So I just spun them into one big chunk on my ladybug, and I am going to chain ply this. So it's going to be like a self striping, because chain ply, when you're spinning end to end on a fiber like I did, creates big chunks of color
Mm-hmm.
because it hadn't been divided into smaller bits. So it is going to be like a big chunky length, like color wise, probably not weight wise. I think it's gonna be close to a DK or worsted. Yeah, continuous strand of yarn. So I'm excited about that. And it's cool to finally get something from 2014 that has this like long backstory
Mm-hmm.
of failure to work. I do remember that when I did the 3-ply, this bled a lot. So I'm gonna, when I wash it and after I finish it, I'm going to make sure that I add some vinegar to my washing of it. And then I have some Boo Bats. This was a 2019 club from Knit Spin Farm. So they were these little batlings. So you probably have these somewhere too.
Probably.
And I spun these into what's going to be a 2-ply. So 3 batlings on each, and then it will become a 2-ply. This was also spun on the ladybug. And then the last thing, and those batlings were Cheviot, Cordell, Falkland, Sorry Silk, Silk Noil, and Angelina. So it says, Bill says these minis remind him of the costume aisle at the regional craft store he visited with his family as a kid. Sparkle and
Oh,
so yeah, I can't wait to see how those are. But if you have known me, you know that I love my friend Becca, and for a while Becca made bats, and she
mm-hmm.
stopped when she had Oliver, who's going to be I think 4 this year, because 2 kids take up a lot of time,
They
and
do, along
so
with full-time job and.
oh yeah, and she wrote a book, which is super amazing, and things like that in the meantime. Um, so I've been hoarding my bats from her. And these were wool pierogi dumpling bats in a Witchy Witch. And it was like 4.1 ounces. I had 2 bats, and I finally spun them up. And I
They're
can't, and I
very
bust my
Halloween-y.
bobbin. Yeah, they're super Halloween. And these are Merino BFL Angelina Firestar Bamboo Shetland and Nylon, 4.1 ounces. So even though she's not making bats anymore, I decided to spin up. I have 2 more sets of her bats, but they're like birthday themed.
I think I've got 2 sets of her bats as well. Maybe just one. I think the other was Moonshine when she and another person were dying together.
Yeah, Christy.
Mm-hmm.
hmm Um,
Okay, go
so
see your
yeah,
daddy.
those are all my singles that I have to ply this week. But I am off tomorrow for our fall break. We get 1 day
Oh,
off.
okay.
So that's kind of why I asked you. Kobe's off too, by the way.
Oh,
He has no school tomorrow. And I know he's doing it from home, so it doesn't even matter really. Uh but Tuesday starts the new 9 weeks.
okay.
So it was what our parents had a choice to either remain if they like they can switch if they want to stay on virtual and switch to in person, or if they're in person, switch to virtual, or just stay the same that they were.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be some lots of things going on in my library this week because I have to take up devices like computers from students and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Yep, because we issue devices to some students.
who have decided now to work to be in person.
Yes. We had I don't know the official numbers, but we had around 200, maybe a little bit more, switching from virtual to in person, and like 20 switching from in person to
Mm.
virtual. And a lot of that has to do with sports seasons that are going on, like basketball starting.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you're a basketball player, you could do virtual the first 9 weeks, but if you want to play for the team, you have to be in person.
Yeah.
And so for a second 9 weeks. And then like after Christmas, like football season's still going on now. So after Christmas, football players might switch to virtual or whatever. Whatever works best for every family.
Yeah.
So yeah, what have you been reading or watching?
I've mostly been rereading. Um, so I'm rereading the Alice Worth series. I haven't. I think I'm on the 4th of 6 books now. Uh, I am re-listening to the Innkeeper series, which is by Alona Andrews. I'm on the second. I'm at the end of the second one, where
Did
she
you
hosts the
finish?
Peace Summit.
Oh, I like that one. Did you finish all of the Atlanta ones? You were
The Kate
re-listening
Daniels.
to, yeah, you were
Yeah,
re-listening to Kate Daniels. I didn't know
yeah. I
if you
did that in
finished
like
them all.
2 weeks or something. It was a
Wow.
lot of. I was listening all the time.
Because there's like 11 books in that series,
I know,
right?
but like every time I was sewing, every time I was knitting, if I was sitting in bed playing on my iPad, like during breaks at work, like I was constantly listening.
Wow. I'm very impressed. It took me a
So,
month and a half to get through one audiobook.
um, well, I mean, I work mostly solo, so that's helpful. Um, but yeah, so I'm re-listening to those, rereading the Alice Worth series, and rewatching Parks and Rec. So this is like a rerun month. It's like I'm trying to harken back to a time when it wasn't 2020.
I think that
And
there's something to be said for like the nostalgia aspect of that.
it's also like I know I like these things. And right
Yeah.
now I need that assurance of joy.
Speaking of assurance of joy, Alice Winters, the Hitman's Guide lady,
Uh-huh.
there's a third one in that series that just came out.
Okay.
So I think you would like that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try reading it instead of listening to those. because I tried to listen to the first one and I got sort of hung up on the portrayal of the hitman.
So funny.
So I might, sometimes it's better when you imagine it on your own rather than
Yeah,
somebody else.
absolutely.
So I might try to read that instead of listen. What
I
about you?
enjoyed all three of those. They are adult male,
Hmm. Mine,
romance
everything I've
slash
talked
action.
about is male, female, paranormal. Alice Worth by Lisa Edmonds is male, female. Paranormal, Innkeeper is male, female. Paranormal with a little bit of sci-fi aspect, and Parks and Rec is male, female, mostly.
And a lot of
Uh,
silliness.
yeah, in the first couple of seasons, Aubrey Plaza's character is dating a guy who dates both her and another guy. So I guess that would be like a triangle, like a three thruple sort of, but two of the three people don't have a romantic connection. It's weird, but it's, I mean, the way that they play it is uh, funny without being at their expense.
Okay,
So
I'll
I'm
take your
sorry I
word for it.
interrupted you. What are you
No,
reading
no,
or
no, you're
listening to?
fine. I just finished listening to Alana Andrews' Burn for Me, which is a male-female paranormal romance. I finally finished that after a month. And I just started White Hot, which is the second in the series. These are both adult male female romances. And then for middle grade, I am reading the new graphic novel version of The Witches by Roald Dahl, which is one, it's like a super weird. Roald Dahl is always weird.
Yeah.
All his depictions of things are weird. That's the author of like James and the Giant Peach and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Looking back on his stuff now, a lot of it has not aged well when you think about like fat phobia and stuff like that. But they just redid The Witches, and there's a cigar smoking grandmother. I'd forgotten that she smoked cigars, but there's also a new movie coming out in like 10 days.
Is it a movie or is it a series?
It's a movie with
Oh, okay.
Anne Hathaway, and
Yeah.
Chris Rock does one of the voices, and Octavia Butler's in it as the grandmother.
Wait,
And it
Octavia Spencer or
Spencer, thank you.
because
Spencer
Butler? She's an
Butler's the
author.
author. Yeah. I told you everything goes back to books for me. Uh so Octavia Spencer, and it just looks so funny. It's gonna be on HBO Max. So I'm excited to see that when it comes out. Um but yeah, I just did a book talk on that and Banicula, which is also like very old school.
Hmm.
My one of my teachers that I taught told me I was doing throwbacks this week. So I did that. My book talks for this week for school were The Witches, Banicula, Doll Bones, and what was the fourth? It was all, I had like a creepy October theme too. So it's got to be another older one. I don't remember because
Do
I've
you do
slept since
your book
Friday.
talks virtually now, or?
So yeah, I do. I record using QuickTime and add them to a program that we subscribe to at work. That's like a video hosting site. VR Spot, I think is the name of it. And so I record four, and then I find like own voice author ones and that are on like YouTube and put them. It takes out any commercials that there are when you run them through there from YouTube. So I found like four there. So the four that I did that were not me were like Ghost by Jason Reynolds. Jason Reynolds talking about his book Ghost. And what else did I do this week? I don't know. Again, I got these all up on Friday and I've slept since then.
Yeah.
Like I'll go back and look at them Monday night because I create collections on Destiny. Destiny is our library card catalog, and Destiny Discover allows you to create collections, which are kind of like playlists of books, and then they can just click on that theme and put books on hold. So I have like different themes, but one of them is Miss Linneman is talking about, and I put all the book talk books on there so they can easily locate them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I did one for like Latinx Heritage Month, one of the manga that we have. I let the kids decide what collections they want to see, so they just tell me and I put them up there. They really wanted a social justice one, so I did that. Latinx Heritage, horror reads because it's that season as well. They really want just like my top 50 favorite graphic novels, so I'm going to work on that some this weekend. Although maybe not. Maybe I'll do that on Tuesday because I'm trying to like have boundaries
Have some time for you.
and not work all the time. Like once I come home, that's when work ends, is the plan. But
You are
it's
not a
hard.
lap dog.
Neelix says
You
he is a lap dog.
you are 45 pounds.
Pearl
Yeah,
thinks she's a lap dog.
he's walking away with my crochet square stuck on his head.
You had a class this weekend. How did that go?
I did. So Laura took this class first, and when she was talking about it, I went and looked. Well, actually, I think I signed up before she actually took her class, but we ended up taking the same class.
We
And
did.
it's Capsule Wardrobe by Jacqueline Cieslak. She is the designer who designed Ursa and um,
Rift.
Rift and Water
Water Bear.
Bearer and some
She's
other things.
got a
She's
new
a,
worsted and
yeah,
sport-weight
Ursulina
version
or
of
something.
Ursa, yeah.
Um, she is a fat positive designer who does a lot of sewing as well. And so the class, I think, in order to really get your money's worth out of the class, you need to be a sewer as
I
well.
would agree with that.
Because a lot of the items, I think it would be difficult to have a capsule wardrobe that is entirely knit. I feel like some things are not going to lend themselves to being knit very well or easily, like pants. You know,
Yeah.
sure, you can knit pants, absolutely, but I don't know how practical that is. Um,
I think it depends on your job too.
that too. Um, but still, I just feel like some pieces are better made with fabric than with yarn.
And one thing that she discusses is a lot of layering.
Mm-hmm.
So I think sewn and knit pieces layer together well, but
Mm-hmm.
there's only so many layers of knit pieces that you can do.
So the idea of a capsule wardrobe is that you have a set number of pieces, whether that's 10 or 20 or, whatever the case may be. Sometimes people include shoes in that, but I don't because I wear the same like 3 pairs of shoes all the time anyway. So you make a list of what those things are if you already know what they are or what you think they might be. So like one of the items on my list is uh, a boxy kind of cropped top, but a sewn version, like a linen version. And I would layer that over like a cami with pants or jeans
Or
or
your overalls.
or my overalls. Which, by the way, I showed her a picture of my overalls, and she loved them. And I'm like, I know they're terrible, and I love them. So part of the class is you have to take a bunch of measurements, and
How did Michael do?
he did fine. Um, he questioned why they needed my inseam measurement or my neck measurement or some of the other ones, but he did. He did fine. But part of that is you put in your measurements into this My Body model, And so you get these croquis, which are these like, this
Paper
is super
doll type
flat.
things.
Yeah, so this is what my croquis looks like, um, put in with all of my measurements.
I'll show you
And then
mine. I think I still have it over here. Hold on. You keep talking, I'll look for it.
and so what I did, so you get an hour of independent work in the middle of the 3 hour class.
There's
Yeah, so
mine.
you're much taller and not
Yeah.
nearly as heavy around the middle. So, but yeah, so you have an hour in the middle to gather some of your own pieces and sort of get an idea of what you already have and what you might need. So I drew a bunch of
You can put them on like
yes,
tissue
tracing
paper.
paper, and that way you can layer them
Yeah.
and see what they look like. I didn't have any tracing paper, so I just drew them on my
Oh, yeah, I could have brought you tracing paper.
it's fine.
Look, and there's my overalls. My
You
toured
even put some
overalls.
texture in there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I just put in some items that I know I have, and then circle the items that I need to make. So there's a pair of linen pants I want to make. There's that cropped boxy top I want to make. Um, and then I want to make some leggings as well. Although I might not make those and just use what I've already got, because I've already got like yoga pants and leggings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did like my plain black leggings that I wear all the time.
I will say I was intimidated by drawing stuff on. I'm a terrible artist.
I am as
Terrible.
well.
But this was impersonal enough that it's just like things, it's just shapes. So the thing I struggled with the most on this is that you have to draw the top layer first. So if you're wearing like overalls and then a cropped top and then a vest, you have to draw the vest first and then the crop top, because that's what's going to show through
Yeah.
um, the top of the drawing. So that's what I struggled with the most on that.
You got
But
to that part. I never got past the tissue paper part because that was playing like it was paper dolls.
oh yeah, um,
But also,
no,
I don't have like, I don't sew. So for
yeah,
me, it was just like
yeah. I
drawing
think
stuff that I
to
bought from
get
Ford.
your money's worth out of the class, and it's reasonable. I think it was like $60, $65.
65, I think.
And it's for 2 hours of instruction, and in the middle it's independent work, but you can still talk to her if you have
And ask her
questions
questions.
or
Yeah.
suggestions or whatever. She did go through a lot of like the sources that she likes to use when she's buying fabric. She also recommended a couple of great ethical full size range companies. um, they were outside of my price range, but they were beautiful. um, if you get a chance to take a class from her and it's a subject that interests you, I would recommend it. You do have to sign up for her newsletter on her website to get the link to be able to register for classes, but
Yep.
I think it's worth it.
I have
Um,
another one of her classes coming up.
it's
Is
like
it next
knitting
week?
for math for knitters or something.
Math for knitters, maybe?
Yeah, it's
Let's
something
see.
like that.
Knitting math for curves. It's on the 25th.
Okay, yeah. Um, so, but she was, she engaged well with us. There were only 5 of us on the class.
I
Um,
think her classes are limited to 8.
yeah, yeah. I think it.
So
She
they're
does
small
put limits on
classes.
it, and it was done via Zoom. So, but I enjoyed the class, and I thought she was very personable, and I would take an in-person class from her if I could.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
let's see what else. I think that's it. Do you have anything else? We're doing the craft all the things um, until the 1st of November.
Yes, the Halloween craft all the things. That's what all my Halloween spinning's been. And knitting. I'm an active participant in this craft all the things.
Yes, you are.
In fact, I gifted some people some patterns off of Instagram this week who used the hashtag.
That's cool.
There were some really cool flat lays that people had done, so yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's all we've got this week.
I think
We
so too.
will uh, we will talk to you again next week. Until then, we hope that it's a quiet, uneventful, non-catastrophic week. And yeah, we'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.